Reversals on the weekly charts this week, and this is one of them, Aussie Swissy, and looking like it really does want to go a little bit shorter to me. I've got a little bit of an area down here. This is a confluence around about it's all the sixes really, the devil's number. If I have a look at this on the monthly chart, what I see is this particular scenario where we've broken through this major trend line and now coming back towards it. I think this level here is probably the level that it's going to seek, and that of course is the red line that I've got on my chart, and that coincides or creates a confluence with that monthly trend line, as I said. So the breakthrough, looking for a retest basically. Now to trade that, what I would be looking for, not necessarily on the weekly charts, but that is where we're getting that indicator from. It's also on the daily charts, a reversal bar that you can see there, but the positioning or the entry level at this point would be very, very dangerous. So what I'll be looking for early in the week is a pullback. Daily pivot's going to drop down a little bit, so that may not be the gauge that we're looking for. But anything here, anything that looks like a retracement on that move on Friday really would interest me. So I'll be looking for that maybe on a 4-hour chart, something of that nature. But I just don't want to enter the market here. I think we do need the pullback, but it does look to me as though Aussie Swissy is in search of that confluence area. And that's what I'll be looking for early in the, maybe middle of the week. We'll see how it pans out. Still on the Aussie, but this time Aussie US dollar. Again, a reversal bar. Interestingly, smashed through all the pivots. Came off the monthly pivot, smashed through the weekly, and down to the daily where it bounced. Now, this one's kind of much easier for me because we've come off the top of this range and we're seeking the bottom, in my humble opinion. Now, that candle there is the indicator that that may well be underway, and similar to what I've just described, I'll be looking for a little bit of a pullback. Now the daily chart is very, very clear on the monthly pivot here. You can see that price just cannot close above it, and on Friday we got that very, very big move that broke this range, which obviously had already been broken, but it broke out of that small range that we've been in for the entire week. As were a lot of currencies, and we did see quite a few breakouts on Friday. This of course was one of them. Now whether that's going to be a clear breakout or whether it's going to be a false breakout of that range will be determined obviously in the next couple of days. So what I'll be looking for is probably a retest of that area, and then I'll be looking for a lower high off there basically. And if we do get that lower high on the smaller time frames or even on the daily time frame, if I've got a retest of this area that is the weekly pivot, or was the weekly pivot and was for a couple of weeks, I think that that level there would be enough to suggest to me that an entry underneath the pullback bar might well be in order. Of course, on the smaller time frames is the first of those opportunities, and as I say, a lower high in here would get me interested based on what I've just described. So it's again short Aussie US dollar, and looking for a lower high to get us into that. Still on the Aussie, must have been an interesting day on Friday, or certainly a week for the Aussie, because it's going down against the US dollar in particular, but looks as though it's going, the pound is going down against the pound as well. And what I'll be looking for here is this breakout of this level that you can see that happened 2 weeks ago, and we had a retest of that. I'll be looking for that to be the retracement, if you like, on that move of those 3 candles, and price to go on and make new highs. Of course, very, very difficult to breach this level here, because that's exactly where it came off only last, or the week before last. So interestingly, I think trying to find the right entry here, as always, is going to be a little bit of a task. But the daily chart is showing me quite clearly that on Thursday I didn't want to know anything about the monthly pivot, and then put in this big buying bar on Friday. I think a pullback to this trade line here would be my catalyst for entering the market long, and I'll certainly be looking to do that off that trade line. So it'll be this probably on. I'll be looking at this very closely on Tuesday after Monday's candle, and if it is a decisive bar that comes back and tests that trade line, then I will be looking to enter long. That's pretty much it for the reversal bars on the weekly chart. There was one other that I'm looking at, and it is Euro Yen. And if you've been watching me on this show in particular, you will know that I'm looking very, very closely at, well, have been looking to get into this short, due in fact to the 7 months prior, which have all been bullish bars, unprecedented as far as I'm concerned. And this bar here is an indicator that we are going to be negative for the month, although there's a long way to go. Just looking for a lower high in here. We have had lower low, lower high, lower low, looking for another lower high to get into the market short, and the target area is down there around about the 130 mark. So that is Euro Yen, and looking for a short after a little bit of a pullback and a lower high. And for this week, that is my 2 cents worth.